You good, Renetta? Have a moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning. We'll open this meeting of the Monongalia County Commission this July 9, 2025 at 10 a.m. Let the record reflect that all three commissioners are present, as is our County Administrator, Renetta McClure, who can start us off with the consent and approval. Good morning.
We have 17 exonerations for $5,685.62, 3 corrected tax statements, $70.73, 1 reverse exoneration for $35.46. Minutes for June 25th, 2025 and July 2nd, 2025. Vouchers, General County Fund, and these are going to be split because we've got 2 fiscal years. General County for fiscal year 25, $148,127.36. Coal severance, $47,597.50. Dog tax, $44,097.97. Magistrate Court, $41,328.47. 911, $2,365.71. Home confinement, $115,942.76. Chestnut Ridge Park, $4,705.13. Camp Muffley, $4,406.53. Mason-Dixon Park, $450.21. Mon County Center, $1,519.93. Assessors valuation, $391.30. Payroll, $15,467.84. ARPA, $223,994. Then for fiscal year 26. General County, $1,125,654.23. Magistrate Court, $88.51. Chestnut Ridge Park, $12.50. Mon County Center, $820.93. Recreation levy, $3,700. Payroll, $1,931,989.56. Parks and Rec, $2,384.68. Purchasing card vouchers, General County for fiscal year 25, $99. $926.95, Camp Muffley, $733.18. Fiscal year 26, General County, $16,040. Camp Muffley, $89.85. Mason-Dixon Park, $91.69. For a grand total of $3,833,164.29. We have one budget revision that is required for state approval for the coal severance fund for fiscal year 26. The total of the budget revision is $199,914. That is the amount of carryover, and that is divided between coal severance 401, 699 contingencies, and 713 fire departments. And then we've got our position vacancies for boards and authorities listed on the website and fiduciary orders for July 9th, 2025.
I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
The first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
No additional fiduciary items this week?
The only other thing I saw in the file was the notice that's going out to the estates for the unprogressed states that are going to have the hearing's going to be in September.
Right.
There's a notice in there that you guys will need to sign off on.
Sounds good. Moving on, we have an introduction of new employees, personnel changes. First, we have the assessor's office. Anyone here from the
I don't think
assessor?
anybody's here.
So we have a James Hassao?
I'm not sure.
go with
He's going to
that.
be starting July 16th, $30,000 per year, full-time transfer clerk.
Okay.
Move to approve the personnel as presented.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, Sheriff's Department. Looks like we have 2, Landon Trickett, Deputy Sheriff, full-time, and Robert Stimmel, Processing Transport Officer, full-time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Ralston, how are we today?
Good, good. On behalf of Sheriff Forbes, the sheriff seeks the commission's approval of the following 2 individuals. The first one is Landon Trickett, to my immediate right. He has been tentatively hired as a deputy sheriff with a start date of July 16.
Okay.
We have 4 scheduled to attend the academy next month, and we're
Great.
hoping to get him on there, so we'll have 5 good to
Excellent.
go. The other one is Robert Stemmel. He has been hired for a vacancy in the Transport Division, also effective July 16 with the Commission's approval.
Move to approve the personnel as presented.
Second.
The first and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, welcome to the county, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Be
Welcome.
safe. Next, we have our comments from the public session. Basically, this is a time when anyone's welcome to come forward. You have 2 or 3 minutes to present your comments, so to speak. So when just come forward, state your name and your address, please, first. So we'll open public comments. Good morning.
Linda Campbell, and I live in Stewartstown here in Mon County. I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to use my notes. My topic is the Marla Power Line that's passing through parts of Stewartstown, Cheat Lake, Cheat Neck, and areas of Mon County. I want to thank the commissioners, Commissioners Sikora and Arnett, that came out to Preston County, did their due diligence. Thank you very much for coming. Mon County residents were also there. We really appreciate your coming. The more I go to these informational meetings and the more information I gather, the more questions I have and more concerns I have. The first one being the rate increase. There's this article, West Virginia ratepayers footing the bill for infrastructure build-out. And after going through that and reading through that, I know that our rates are going to go up, and I don't really see any really benefit for the people of this county. It seems like basically West Virginia and this county is an extension cord going from Pennsylvania to Virginia. Also, the tax revenue money for Mon County is my next concern. I've heard a figure of 50 to 100 million, and I think that might be over the lifetime of the power line. And where's this money coming from? I'm wondering, because our rates are being increased. Is this tax money coming from our money that the ratepayers are paying to increase and to fund this project? My last one is jobs. Can next era make a commitment to West Virginians on record that we're going to have permanent West Virginia jobs? Oftentimes they come in from out of state with their specialists and they do their jobs and they leave. And then afterwards, and even when construction is over, might be some West Virginians working on that. But will there be any permanent jobs and how many? I just have concerns and questions. I don't know if the commissioners have any answers to that yet. And I thank you very much for hearing my concerns.
Great, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm just going to make a point. We don't respond in public session, but we may respond at the end in our own individual comments. So.
Great. Anyone, please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. Mary Ann Foles, 321 Morgantown Avenue. I'm coming today because I saw on the agenda, I always watch to the agenda, and you've got a consideration for appointment to the Monongalia County Planning Commission. As you know, applied 4 years ago. I'm still waiting to hear from you guys. I haven't yet. I kind of presumed that at some point in time I would hear something, and I'm still waiting for that. I did want to let you know that, I was just talking with a friend of mine yesterday, in fact, and said, what do you think are some of the things we should be doing with our new city council, new city planner, or not city, city manager. And first thing out of her mouth was, well, we need more planning. Not just in the city, but within the whole county. And I 100% agree with that. I mean, that was completely I didn't try to give her ideas or anything. That was the first thing out of her mouth. And some of the things that we really aren't doing here. We're not looking at, when we have these flooding events, how are we going to address that? I mean, we do a little bit, but that should be part of a planning committee. A planning committee should be looking at that and saying, what can we do to make that situation better? How can we be working with the other organizations that need to be involved to improve those things? In terms of traffic, I know that there's already a committee, the MMMPO, which Mr. Statler chairs, and I know that they're doing a lot of things with traffic, but that should be coming into planning as well. That all fits together. In terms of things like the gas lines, we have many, many areas of our county that do not have natural gas, yet we're one of the biggest and most progressive counties and growing counties in the state, and we're not addressing simple infrastructure things like that. Same way with water, the road, my Bloody Run Roadhouse. I have water, but half of my road doesn't, and that's less than 2 miles from the city. So we have a lot of basic infrastructure needs that I think from a planning organization we need to be looking at. And I'm here to serve. As you know, I've been requesting to be involved in helping to solve these problems for quite a long time. And then even simple things like, there's no fast food restaurant from the Burger King up on Grafton Road until you get all the way through the other end of town over by the McDonald's before you go up to University Town Center. Why don't we have that? Well, it was no one listening or looking around to say what are some of the things that our community doesn't have. But I have to drive all the way to Westover just to get a drink if I need a drink when I'm out on a hot day. So there's a lot of things that I think we should be doing from a planning committee that a community-driven organization can bring to the county that's not happening today. A lot of fresh ideas, as you know, I have, and I'm here to serve, and I'm looking forward to that day that I get the email or the phone call or the letter in the mail. If I happen to miss the letter, that could be because I've moved, but looking forward to that day to be able to work with you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? With that, we'll close comments from the public. Moving on, Colleen Kuhn, grants. Looks like you've got a few there. Good morning.
I do have a few. Good morning. Okay, so first I have the VOCA grant application for fiscal year 26. We're requesting $130,000. So you'll need to sign that. And that's the only grant application I have.
Okay.
The rest are requests for reimbursement, so you'll need to vote on that now.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Move to approve the request for reimbursement as presented.
Second.
The first and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Nope,
Thank
that
you.
was the grant application. You said
I'm
reimbursement.
Sorry. And she said reimbursement. I move to approve the grant application as presented.
There you go.
Thank
Second.
you.
First and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so next up, I do have a request for reimbursement. The first one is for the Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $1,881.60. Then I have the Saki Grant in the amount of $26,231.26. And the VOCA Grant in the amount of $9,166.45.
I move to approve the request for reimbursements as presented.
Second.
The first and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. No more for grants. So moving on to correspondence.
Just received one that came in last week. Unfortunately, Dana Johnson, director of your Canine Adoption Center, is retiring effective July 30th. So we will begin our search. I'm working on a job description now, so we'll begin our search on new director.
She will be incredibly hard to replace. She's been an invaluable member for many years, and I'm sure we'll speak more on it later, but
Yep.
sorry to get that
I
correspondence.
know.
Regretfully, I move that we approve the resignation retirement letter as presented.
Second.
The first and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Sean, do you have any correspondence?
I do have one thing that I just got into the mail. This is from a fourth grader at Mason-Dixon Elementary, as well as a junior 4-H member of the Monongalia Pigs 4-H Club, inviting the commission to the, I think the official title is the 47th Annual Monongalia County FFA and 4-H Livestock Show and Sale, to be held at the Wadestown Fairgrounds on August 23rd, 2025. The show's at 11 a.m. and the sale is at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Any more?
That was all I had.
No.
I had one thing, I guess this qualifies under correspondence. Yesterday, I attended a board meeting at the Brookhaven Community Center where I received from Senator Mike Oliverio and Senator Joey Garcia a check for $20,000 for the community center's build-out project for their ADA compliant bathrooms that they're installing. This was part of the, make sure I get this right, the Local Economic Development Assistance Program from the state. They previously provided funds also to the community center, were granted through Senator Oliverio and Delegate Girardelli also with this project, as well as the commission contributed to their project in a prior thing. So they're still working on it and trying to go forward in that regard. So I gave the check to Renetta this morning, turned it over to the coffers, and they'll be accessing those funds and completing their project. It's a nice organization, and they're doing a lot down there with the really old building, and I wish them luck going forward. With no more correspondence, seeing no unfinished business, we'll move on to new business. First, we have consideration of a project agreement with the West Virginia Department of Highways. We have several individuals here for that. We have on the TV screen there, Secretary Rimbaugh, the West Virginia Department of Transportation Secretary. We have Deputy of Transportation Michael Demers, and I see another individual in the picture now. Can you guys hear us? Okay. Who else do we have?
Yes, Rick Walker with the Communications Office.
Great, thank you. Just note for that for the record. And we have Ryan Lynch, a developer at Westridge, who was a participant and instrumental in getting this agreement together, and he's got a presentation.
To start the process, so I would move that we approve the Exit 155 three-party collaboration agreement between the West Virginia Department of Highways, Westridge, Inc., and the Monongalia County Commission as presented.
Second.
Okay, and Ryan will
We'll have discussion,
provide
yeah.
a presentation, and then we'll have discussion.
Great.
This mic is on.
Yes.
Yes.
So if I just open the PowerPoint.
I don't know if we need to turn it a little more toward you, because you have a tendency to speak softly.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
what
want to
I
make sure
was-
everybody in the room can hear. There we go.
Yes.
Okay. DOH officials, can you see the PowerPoint? I think that's it.
Are they muted?
Go on with Adams.
Okay.
Can you see it? I can't hear.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. All right, great. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
So my role this morning is to try to distill down a project that spans many years, more than most people would like, down into what we're doing today, which is a very important milestone that we've been working towards for really probably the last 18 months. So the let me make sure I know how to work this. So
If
the-
possible, could you go full screen?
Yep. Let's see.
That way the public can see it.
There we go.
Okay. So, I know on behalf of Westridge and the County Commission, we're very appreciative of the Department of Highways' overall working collaboration the last 6 months since these folks have joined the department, and even in joining us today. So given the project's gone on for 5-7 years, depending on how you count it, I'm going to try to distill it down to 2 idioms. From probably 2017 until earlier this year, it was a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. And in the last 6 months, the idiom that I came up with this morning is, you know something when one sees it, or one knows something when one sees it. And by that, I mean that this commission and my development partners at Westridge know when we have a willing and able partner. And with this administration and this DOH leadership, I feel very confident that we do, and that we're finally going to be able to really move this forward towards groundbreaking. As a very quick overview of what this project means to the community, it really I could be here a long time describing how important it is to the region. It's the first exit south of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania-West Virginia line. It's the front door to the city of Morgantown, Monongalia County, WVU. It's also a critical transportation link in our regional network, and is the primary way that our citizens also access Mylan Park, which, as we all know locally, but I would be remiss to not point out, is really a concentration of educational, social services, community. The county has facilities out there, schools. It's really where our citizens need to have safe and efficient access to. Despite how important this section of roadway is, it has fallen into a state of disrepair. My words, not technical, but I don't think most technical folks would disagree with me. The level of service for some of the ramps, the intersections, is below a level of service F. The bridges that carry I-79 over Chaplain Hill Road have been rated poor and fair for many years. There are higher than average crash frequencies and intensities in the vicinity, and it's far from the front door to a growing and prosperous community like we are that we need. I know our local elected officials have especially been vocal about the need to improve the aesthetics for prospective students, prospective doctors, prospective businesses coming to Morgantown. It is the first impression as you if you fly into the Pittsburgh airport and come to Morgantown, or you just drive along 79, and we really need to improve that first impression. And even some of, I know, the collaboration between some county officials and the city officials. We've got our citizen volunteers going out, picking up trash and other kind of common maintenance activities. So the project scope, what we had scoped in collaboration with the Department of Highways several years ago following a traffic study that was coordinated between Westridge, the county, the MPO, DOH, and Federal Highways, was to completely reconstruct exit 155 and reconfigure it into a diverging diamond interchange, replace those two aging bridges that carry I-79 over Chaplain Hill Road, construct a 2-lane flyover for westbound traffic, the traffic that's leaving Morgantown. That flyover will be located at the intersection of Route 19, Mon Boulevard, and Chaplain Hill Road. Most people know that as that Sheets intersection. So both rush hour traffic for the significant percentage of workers that commute into Morgantown every day. If they take I-79 home, they'll be able to bypass that intersection, as well as kind of peak or surge events like WVU sporting, basketball games, football games, all of that. All of those people will benefit from that flyover. And then following the grant, which I'll speak a little bit more about in a second, there's also been multimodal components added to the project scope. There's a planned shared use path that runs the length of the project area, which is shown on the screen, and connects into the Mon River Trail System. It'll run across the Mon River Bridge, connect into the trail system, and therefore connect into, I don't know the exact number, but over 20 miles, I'm sure. So the discussions of kind of how we got here, these three parties started after the successful delivery of Exit 153. In 2016, it opened, and that takes me back to the idiom, especially this group, this commission, and my colleagues know a willing and able DOH administration that's willing and able to partner us when they see it. We worked with the DOH in 2014 to 2016 to take the idea of a new interchange through design, through funding, and open to traffic in 3.5 years. which is impressive for any area, anywhere in the country. It's probably not a coincidence that Secretary Rumbaugh was involved in that project with us back then, I believe as the Director of Construction. That project was very successfully delivered. As has been reported in the past, the local STIF district repaid the division for its investment in Exit 153 in 2017, well ahead of the projected timeline, 9-10 years ahead of schedule. And that's really where these discussions started of collaborating on Exit 155. Roads to Prosperity program passed later that year. There was a project for Exit 155 included in that. However, it had no design or program or scope. It was just, I guess, added, or I assume added to the list based on the state of disrepair. Through our collaborative process in 2019, the state did agree to increase the state's funding to a number that's pretty easy to remember and has been pretty widely reported, $66 million. That happened in 2019. However, as we got into 2021, 2022, and the scope was further refined and construction estimates were updated, we jointly determined that the $66 million would not be enough to build the project that was required based on the conditions. At that time, the DOH took a position that they would not increase their investment greater than $66 million. And so something that I am personally very proud of having worked with the county on is instead of letting that be the end of the conversation, we went out and we got federal funding via the mega grant. It's very unusual for local entities to go out and get federal grants. Most of the grant awards have gone to states. We did have a letter of support from Governor Justice, so I don't want to not note that we had the official support, but as we all know, kind of the locals really led that initiative, and in a lot of ways can kind of claim credit for the receipt of the grant, which was announced in January 2024. The County Commission was the official recipient of a $54 million grant award from the U.S. Department of Transportation's MEGA program. The MEGA program was designed or described as intended for projects of regional significance, which this certainly has. Major projects, I believe defined as those greater than $100 million, and projects that otherwise wouldn't be funded absent the federal grant. So we were pleased but not surprised that the federal government, with the support of our Senators Capito and Manchin at the time, awarded that grant to the county in an amount of approximately $54 million. That grant award did not include the phase. We had two phases in the grant application. The first phase is what we're talking about today. The second phase was including a 4-lane divided highway to improve access to Milan Park. I know that it remains a very important goal of Westridge's and the counties to continue working towards that. This project, the Exit 155 project, will be designed to accommodate that in the future, and more details will come out on that in the future. So what the other idiom when I said 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, we got the grant award officially announced in January 2024, and unfortunately that was of course the last year in the Justice's administration, and we found in early 2024 that the state had updated its state transportation improvement plan so that the $66 million that had been included in Roads to Prosperity was pushed many years into the future and not funded from state funds but from federal funds. To sum up a very complex issue with a very complex spreadsheet. The grant applications and grant awards budget was not in sync with the state's funding plan. And so we had to, while we had 54 million and it was beneficial to all parties, we had to work through that. As has been reported, the state had spent most of the Roads to Prosperity, or committed most of the Roads to Prosperity. So it was a bigger issue than it might sound. While that project was several $billion, or Roads to Prosperity was several $billion, coming up with $30–40 million in the reality that this DOH administration is facing is a big task, and really, I think why this group, Westridge and the county, is so appreciative and willing to increase our local funding, which is something I'll talk about more in a second. In 2025, we locally began working with the new administration, Secretary Rumbaugh, Deputy Secretary Demers, and their team. We've recognized that they have a lot of competing interests, that the level of investment in new roads, just there's no way that it can keep up with what it's been in the last couple of years. That was funded by one-time monies, and the challenge they face is significant. That said, we didn't find woe is me. We found new energy, a problem-solving attitude, a willingness to roll up the sleeves and work with us to figure out how to get this project on track and moving to groundbreaking as quickly as possible. That willingness to roll up the sleeves and tackle this big problem is very much appreciated by myself and the County Commission. So I'll probably say that 2 or 3 more times. The agreement today memorializes the work over the last couple months between us to solve that problem, meet the requirements of the federal match, and tell the U.S. Department of Transportation that we are back moving full speed as quickly as possible on what locally we consider one of, if not the most important transportation projects of the next several years. So some details of what the agreement includes is there's 3 parties, the Department of Highways, the County Commission, and Westridge as the designated developer of the TIF and STIF districts. We have set the total project budget at approximately $135 million. That number was agreed to between the parties as an amount that would address any inflation risk or other cost escalation risks. Cost of construction continued to go up by kind of unprecedented amounts, and all parties wanted to make sure that we finally set it at an amount and that our respective funding contributions were an amount that we could move forward with full speed and exercise all available methods to deliver the project as quickly as possible, given its current state and given the public deserves that. If that amount, 135 million, is more than what is ultimately needed for the project scope that's agreed to in the grant agreement, in this agreement, then any excess amounts we've agreed will either be reallocated, which is the first priority, to projects in the vicinity of Exit 155, roadway projects, or if there are kind of technical reasons that can't be done due to timing or regulations, that they be returned to the respective projects. The funding comes from 3 components. About 50% of it comes from the Department of Highways, an amount slightly higher than the 66 million, at about 67.2 million. And I'll just reiterate again, while that number has been reported for some time, the incoming administration had to work to identify that funding and move it in the correct years, which had been done from the prior administration, unfortunately. And as a result, requested, which we've agreed to, for the locals to increase their financial contribution. So the combination of the County Commission and Westridge have agreed to fund approximately 10% of that $135 million project. That funding comes in two components. We have been funding the cost of design, permitting, kind of the pre-construction activities to date, and we will continue and we will finish that. Of course, the design is completed in coordination with the Department of Highways. They have the final review and approval, given it's their roadway. But we've agreed to cover the cost of it. And in addition, to put forth true cash payments that take that amount of the design and get us to a local contribution in terms of direct cash of 10%. We've agreed to the division to, if needed, fund the cost of construction up front, and based on kind of the TIF and STIF districts' finances and the county commission's preferences, to pay that cash component of the local contribution over 5 years, starting in fiscal year ending June 2028. And so 50% from the Department of Highways, 10% via direct payments or direct cash contributions from the locals. And then, as has been reported in the past, we will be officially memorializing in here that the County Commission will assign the grant that the locals went out and procured to the Department of Highways, so that the Department of Highways is the recipient of those funds. That's based on mutual discussion and agreement that the Department of Highways has much more experience and administrative staff to deal with the reporting requirements and regulatory requirements. While we're very proud to be one of the few non-state entities to have been awarded grant funds from the MEGA program, it makes the most sense for the project schedule to assign that over to the Department of Highways. They've been generous to accept that responsibility, and that amount, which has remained unchanged of about $54.3 million, represents about 40% of the total project. There's a number of other kind of technical aspects of this agreement, which is referred to as a collaboration agreement. There'll be additional details soon on a updated project website. That will also be a easy location for where the public can provide comments, input, go and seek information regarding the schedule of the project, impacts to traffic. Given this project is the primary gateway to and from Morgantown and campus and even sporting events, there'll be significant planning for maintenance of traffic between all the parties. We really want to set the standard for collaboration on that with the DOH and the local entities. And so the project website will become a very important resource for the public.
Hey, Ryan, can I just add one word, one sentence, which is it's opening for Morgantown, but also Westover, Star City, and Granville.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure everyone realizes it's everybody. They may not realize that. Thank you.
Yep. So after the parties execute the collaboration agreement, which is as soon as the County Commission takes it up today, we will engage with the U.S. Department of Transportation. The DOH will lead the negotiation of the grant agreement that memorializes when the funds will be spent over the coming years. The agreement also contemplates the parties form a steering committee made up of representatives of the three parties to monitor the progress of design, permitting, construction progress, and then public communications. Again, the locals will continue funding the completion of the design and permitting, And ultimately, the goal is for the Department of Highways to take those plans, bid them out, and administer the construction contract. So while I can't acknowledge that it's taken 3 DOH secretaries to get to this point, the project is going to be transformative, and there has been a tremendous amount of weekly to daily work over the last several months from the incoming administration and these folks that have joined us this morning. There is a new energy, a new commitment to moving this forward as quickly as possible, and I'm tremendously excited. So I went way longer than I expected, but hopefully covered why today is an important milestone. So I'll turn it back over to you.
It wasn't longer than I expected, Ryan, but I do appreciate all the detail, and
Yeah.
Ryan's like me, he's a geek for all the details, but we're here for public consumption and trying to distill it down. This is the beginning of a very challenging project, and I say the beginning, we've been working on it for 2-3 years. But the MMPO even developed a subcommittee that members of the MMPO and Ryan had been trying to figure out how to merge this $66 million that we had committed from the state with the $54 million from the mega grant. And, we have this nice problem. We've got 2 sources of funding and trying to figure out how we're actually going to make this project work. So we started that in earnest last spring when the MMPO, we have Steve Blanco from Star City, Delegate Statler, Russ Rogerson from the partnership, Bill Austin, who's been invaluable. I'm still.
Sorry.
Bill Austin from the AMMPO director, who's been invaluable with, once we got the mega grant and talking about assigning it to DOH and working all the his federal contacts and and Ron Justice from WU, who also was part of that group, and of course Ryan was part of that. So we were having all these discussions. Okay, so how do we get to an MOU? Then the first thing we decided is this commission decided to assign the grant. We thought it'd be most efficient to assign it to DOH. So we've been working for the past year of how we would assign it. We had an agreement in principle last August, and then it kind of waited for the administration changeover. And I apologize, Secretary Warrenbaugh, but in April, we approved the MOU as we thought was ready to go.
Right.
Actually, April 2nd. So what we're doing today kind of rescinds what we did on April 2nd, because we put something in force, but at least to force the conversation. We put the MOU forward, and what we have today is much more comprehensive and much more, that was the whole problem of getting the MOU approved that we did in April, was the funding source, as we were finding out, and the new administration was finding out, and the secretary was finding out, was a lot more challenging than anybody had thought. So this is a lot of people may say, well, this has been promised 4 times over, and, why is the announcement now that the state's going to come forward with the $66 million? Because it is being memorialized, and we've got, we have the federal partners, we have the state partners, and we also have local partners that are coming together to fund this project to make it happen, and it's all going to be memorialized in this collaboration agreement. So, and I want to thank Ed Compton from the Federal Highways Administration, who around April started reaching out to us and say, hey, guys, you got this grant. We want to help you. We want to help you utilize these funds, but you got to get a lot of things together. And one of the first things was getting an MOU signed. So that's a big step, because then that triggers some things that we can start doing. Getting approval for advanced construction, so that we can start having a lot of this funds that we're spending locally for design and stuff be applicable and be part of that. And we've also got, again, a number of things that we need to start working on to try to make sure that we access those federal dollars first, because those ones are they're
Time
time
sensitive, I
limited.
think,
And
yeah.
we need to access those funds before they go away. So again, there's a lot of people, and I hate naming names because we're going to forget people. But I do really want to appreciate, I've got a chance to meet Michael Demers, who I spent a couple meetings with Ryan, who's really, from our perspective, and working with the Department of Highways, has really got into the weeds.
Yeah.
And really spent a lot of time and made himself available to work on this project. So I really appreciate your efforts, Michael. And I know that that's at the direction of the Secretary. So thank you, Secretary. And we're really looking forward to moving this project forward. Again, this is the first step. We've got a lot of work to do, but we've got this memorialized, and we also now have our marching orders to move forward. And our public is going to start seeing progress. Instead of, right now, I think this was on the transportation plan out in 29.
Right.
It's going to be, I'm not promising, it's going to be 2, 3 years, 2, 3, 4 years as we work on this thing, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But we are working on it, and we're phasing it so that we can show progress and access those federal funds. And I'm really excited to get this thing moving forward. And the other component that I like is we're committing a certain amount of funding. If we do have, and I know everybody says these projects never come in under, but we do have contingencies built in that may allow us to come in under. And if we come in under, we'll be able to hopefully access some of those things that we planned in the mega grant that were not approved.
Right.
And again, improve that whole gateway. As Ryan put it, and one of the first things he said is this really is the main gateway from West Virginia, from Pennsylvania, and we really want it to be something to be proud of, and I think this is a good step forward.
Back in the corner, not in a normal seat, Mayor Lewis, also on the MMPO.
Yes.
She's, couldn't be seen, I doubt, from your angle, so I wouldn't point.
Before I say something, I'd like to open it up. Could we hear from, but I just want to thank you for attending our meeting, and I won't say anything more, because then, you know how a politician goes on for 20 minutes. So we'd like to hear from you. Secretary, if you can.
Well, I'd just like to say, we're thrilled with this partnership. As Ryan referred, back when I was over the construction division, we had a wonderful relationship when we did Exit 153, and getting the opportunity to come back and to partnership with everyone on Exit 155 is great. I am thrilled with that opportunity and glad we're able to jump in and get this done. As you all have said, this is the gateway to West Virginia. It is the gateway to WVU, and it really needs to be a showcase. And I think this project is going to take it to the next level and really help things out.
Great.
We greatly appreciate the opportunity and for you all putting faith in us to continue on with this.
I want to make sure, and we haven't mentioned it yet, but we owe a lot of appreciation to the governor. The governor, has shown an interest in this project. The governor's got a tough task in dealing with projects across the state, and we do owe the governor a lot of thanks and appreciation for us being able to get to this point. So I wanted to not be remiss, and we hadn't even mentioned the governor, but he's pretty much the driver that has brought us here today. So I do want to thank him for his participation too.
Agreed, of course.
And I think on behalf of not only the county commission, but the residents, there's been a real change, and we've noticed it since, Secretary, you took office, and now you've added Michael to the mix. We are now being told and finally seen as an integral part of the state and economic development. And you are now pushing us forward to do more things, and we're so thrilled that you are willing to work with us. I know you can't see, but we have several mayors here. We have the new city manager of Morgantown. We have Delegate Statler and others. And we reached out to every delegate and senator, and I know others could say, but I talked to Senator Clemens, and he was ecstatic. He was so excited to see this project moving forward. And we can't say enough from Joe Purnell, Earl Gaskins locally, talking to Mike, I'm able to call him, and it's made such a change. And I believe this community now sees that you want to work with us, and transportation-wise, we can only move forward, and we want to thank you on behalf of that. That's my political speech.
And I hope we take this big, beautiful deal that we're arriving at today and
The feedback and the opportunity, working for the governor is wonderful. He is insistent that we communicate and work with others, and that's what our goals are, is to, follow his lead. And so we're trying to be open and transparent as possible with everyone. And we're glad to work with folks that really want a partnership and work together to get things done. That's what we're here for.
well, as I was getting ready to say it, is the governor announced his plan to have a data-driven approach to these projects.
Right.
That has us written all over it. Mon County and Joe Statler with his fight for the formula bill. We've said for years that these things ought to be more data-driven, and we appreciate those efforts, and we're certainly willing and to be a partner and be an example to the state.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we've had a motion on the floor. We've had a first and we've had a seconded. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Thank you very much for joining, and we appreciate your time and all your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
I mean, you're welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting, but you probably have more pressing matters of state to attend to, I would imagine. So,
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You all take care.
all right, moving on. Next, we have a consideration to approve the request by Sheriff Todd Forbes regarding awarding the service weapon to Captain Randy Spangler upon retirement effective July 31, 2025.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. I'm sorry to see Captain Spangler retiring. He's been a staple at University High School now
Yes.
for many years, and
He kept
the
me out of a
kids,
lot of trouble.
the kids get a real big kick out of him there, so we'll see who we've got to replace him. But moving on, consideration of appointments to the Monongalia County Planning Commission.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion we have a number of members whose terms have expired that are seeking reappointment, so I'd like to address those first. So I move that we approve the reappointment of Commissioner Arnett as the commission's representative, Joe Woodman-Kaler, Joe Panico, Vince Putakowski, and Matthew Ridgway.
Second.
The first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'll abstain from voting on myself, but I'll.
You're allowed
That's
to vote.
aye for everyone. Yeah, it's just bad optics, so move on.
And I'd also like to make a motion. We did have a number of applications for the Planning Commission. I believe we had about 6 or 7 in total, and we have agreed to appoint 4 individuals. And I would move to appoint, I'm sorry, I've got to open up the folder here. Give me 1 second. I have it here. Sorry about that. I move to appoint Darren Glitz, Mark Bowers, Parker Grimes, and Marianne Foles to the Mon County Planning Commission.
Second.
The first and a second. All in favor of appointing the 4 candidates to the Monongalia County Planning Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on, consideration of an appointment to the Mountaineer Trail Network Regional Authority.
Dan Miller has been serving on that committee as a member, as an appointee from the commission. We have Dan and Susan Riddle. I think Susan was reappointed a few months back, and so Dan is now asking for reappointment for a 4-year term.
So move to reappoint.
Okay, second.
We have first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have make sure I don't miss something. Okay. Consideration to approve an application for project infrastructure funding assistance is submitted by Mountain State Development Group LLC in the amount of $90,000 from the Monongalia County Development Authority's Coal Bed Methane Fund.
I move to approve the application and funding the amount of $90,000 from the Coal Bay Methane Fund as approved by the Mon County Development Authority.
Second.
The first and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we have, somebody here wants to, is the developer here?
Yeah, I'll do a quick.
Okay, yeah, I'd want Eric to do
Sure.
just a quick summary of the
Sure,
actual
Yeah,
project.
please.
Eric Carlson with the Mon County Development Authority and Morgantown Area Partnership. We do have the developer here, Thomas Brown. He has been working on the intersection of Bowers Lane and Fairchance Road, getting that area ready for development. You've seen a lot of dirt moving out there over the last few months, and I know there's been some rumors flying around on what that may be, and he's excited to dispel some of those rumors. But we've got Thomas, if you'd like to come up for a moment.
I didn't recognize you without the John Deere hat, so it's very different.
I figured I'd save you guys the agony. My lovely wife coming in talking to y'all today, because she's been here many times to talk to you guys about some other situations that you guys have been generous on.
She's our citizen representative on the Mon County Health Department.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kara.
Okay.
So,
What's that?
I'm
EMS.
EMS, sorry, I get
Yeah.
that confused all the time.
So my name's Thomas Brown. Obviously, my wife's Kara, that you guys have heard from many times before. Had the opportunity years ago to acquire this piece of property out in Cheat Lake, looking for an opportunity, not taking away from Ryan, but we're also a gateway to Morgantown as well. We also handle 68 through the Cheat Lake area, which you guys have done a great job over there, where you guys are working at West Ridge. So we're looking pretty much to do something on a lot smaller footprint in the Cheat Lake area. I've heard a lot of rumors. I've got a lot of text messages. I've seen a lot of Facebook posts, as I'm sure all you guys have as well. And I can tell you wholeheartedly, I have absolutely none of those are true. I don't have anything in writing. I don't have anything. We haven't pursued any opportunities for writing. My attorney and I have talked multiple times, and the different things that are going around is all a myth and all a rumor. And I can share with you guys wholeheartedly that is not the case. We don't pursuing different aspects or different opportunities that you hear maybe coming out there. That is not true. And I'd be more than happy, in executive session, we can talk about some of the things that we are approaching, some of the people that we are approaching. If you guys want to go to that, we could do that as well.
And to be clear for the public, there was a rumor that, and I've heard it from two different entities, that that the county was putting a transfer station.
Transfer
there.
station, that was the big.
So again, that there's no truth to that. What you're developing the infrastructure for is for
Retail.
potential retail.
Yes, sir.
and again, we're the coal bed methane fund is meant for these type of projects that are developing land that is
I'm excited for the new bridge that you guys are putting in off 119 to get to the transfer station a lot sooner. So,
Yes.
But anyhow, again, as I mentioned, the first step in this process is for someone to come and be in front of the Development Authority and get their thumbs up. So the Development Authority has vetted this project and has asked a lot of these same questions, and they recommend it to the county, and then the county approves the use of the funds. So that's what we motioned, seconded, and approved here today. So
Great.
appreciate
Sure, absolutely.
appreciate
Thank you
your
guys for the
support,
opportunity.
and
Thank you,
tell
guys.
Kara I said hi.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Eric. Next, we have a consideration to approve the 2025 Affordable Housing Program Community Planning Certification Form as requested for Canyon Lake Apartments and Canyon Lake Apartments 2.
Move to approve the certification form as presented.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have reports from elected officials and department heads. We do have many elected officials and department heads in the room today. We have Mayor Daniel Trumbull, Councilwoman Jenny Saline is here. We have our new city manager, Jamie Miller, Delegate Joe Statler, I see on the side. We have Mayor Patty Lewis hiding in the back. today, and Assistant City Manager Emily Mazzarelli, and former Delegate Fleischauer I saw here earlier as well.
She's
So
on the left.
there she is, hiding behind Colleen. So if anyone has any reports or anything? No? All right, moving
Wait,
on.
Joe, wait,
Oh,
Joe's coming.
Joe, great.
See, he can't see the
Delegate
Post.
Sattler, welcome. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, and I want to start by thanking you guys. I do believe that the 155 interchange that you approved a moment ago is going to be monumental. Some of the things that wasn't said in it, Chaplain Hill, the Chaplain Hill Business Park is very much going to be able to benefit from this when you do that interchange. The western end of the county is going to be, that flyover, I've been waiting for that thing forever. I mean, I go clear back to when it was a T intersection with no lights at Sheets. And that was a challenge to do anything there when business picked up. So this is just going to be a win-win for everybody, I believe, that's out there. There's going to be people that has growing pains, that hates when progress comes. It's going to cause some inconvenience for people. I understand that. But overall, it's going to be a betterment for everybody in the area. And I just want to thank you guys and everybody involved in that project doing that. And I don't like the 4 years, and even me standing here speaking while we was listening to the thing. You know me, I'm sitting back there thinking we could have had the dozers in place already moving the dirt and had this project half done while we're moving. So again, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Joe, I already told them if there's any excess dirt that you get
You
first
wanted the
dibs.
dirt.
I will tell you that the one thing that I'm going to hone Ryan to look at is he always promised me that we were going to have the flags of all the military operations put in
Yeah.
so that is an area that we can talk about. And that would be a lovely area. And I don't know how you design that in. And but I still would like to see that happen, to be an honor to the military that's made things like this possible for us. Thank you.
We'll figure it
Well
out.
said. Thank you, Joe.
Yep, come on.
Yes, please, come on up.
I remain fully in support of this intersection and the flyover and all of the planning that's gone into it over the years, having watched much of it. My question, concern, or item that I'd like us to keep somewhere in mind is that not everyone owns a car. And in one of the plans that I was sort of in on a portion of discussion was making provision for people who don't have cars to get through this intersection. So having bicycle, pedestrian way to get through, and especially in light of all the electric bicycles that are coming to the fore with their larger range. I think it's really important that people be able to get between all of the amenities that are on one side of the highway and all of the amenities that are on the other side of the highway. So even if we're not building specific trails up to Milan or trails back through to Star City, if we can make sure in this portion of the plan that there is provision for people to pass through that area and get up toward Milan Park and pass back and get through Star City.
Great.
So-
I can tell you, Jenny, that there are those multimodal components in this plan. There's even a component that gets the trail onto the bridge and across the bridge, so those
That's
have
what
all-
I was remembering, but I was just wanting to make sure
Yes.
because I've seen value engineering in action and sometimes it doesn't work in favor of all the different modes, so I appreciate it if
Well,
we
in your
can.
position on the MPO, you'll still, as this
You're part of
develops,
it.
you'll see every aspect of that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't, did we want to, Russ, since he's not an elected official, but did you want to say anything as economic? Putting you on the spot, but.
No, you know me.
You don't have to twist Russ's arm to say something.
No, I just want to reiterate the support for the 155 program and what a great example of collaboration and cooperation from private sector, public sector, state, local, and all of our legislators who kind of watch out for us on a regular basis down at the state. So congratulations to you all, and really your ability to think a little outside the box and be innovative has been a huge part of our success in Mon County. So thank you and Ryan and Bill and the whole team for really putting the time and effort behind this and setting the example of how to get things done in the community. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Barbara Evans Fleischer, and I was a delegate in the legislature for many, many years. And I'm begging your indulgence. I tried to get here in time for the public comment, and I have a very short public comment. My friend Linda Campbell spoke, and I just wonder, and I'm going to be staying for the next era presentation, but I think one big question, which she included in a couple of questions, is what is their response to this economic report from that was the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis? And that, I mean, what is Next Era's response to this report? This report says that for the high power energy transmission line, that West Virginia taxpayers are going to be footing the bill for that infrastructure build out without getting much, if any, benefit. And so that's a simple way to ask the question, but I think we need to know what do they say to this report that has looked at the numbers. And it's a simple question. I don't know whether you want to ask that, but that's a suggestion from a concerned citizen. I'm one of the people that got a postcard, and I know that a lot of people that are going to be affected by this, either because it's in their view shed or because what it looks like is that we are all going to pay that cost, even if it's spread out over a long period of time. It's a very, very large cost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no one else, move on to reports from county commissioners. Tom?
Just very quickly, I'm very excited. I want to thank the governor. I want to thank the secretary, Ryan. I mean, we went to the last minute at 4:59 when you finally got the contract. Basically agreed that we were allowed to tell the public or tell the elected officials yesterday. This has been a long time coming, and where I'm excited is the first time that the first big project coming out of the state is in the North Central area. And I think that is probably a bigger surprise than anything else that we have done. And I'm very appreciative. And I think there's a new sheriff in town down there at transportation. I believe that, as you said, data-driven is key. And I believe we are now in the eyes and the ears of Charleston. And I can only see better things happening in the future, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, Tom. Since our last meeting, it's been light for meetings. This week I did have a Juma tag up on Tuesday. Today's a regular day. We have 2 work sessions, and Thursday's my regular second Thursday of the month, which is busy for Partnership Executive Committee, Red Team, and Development Authority. Then Friday I have a broadband tag up, and then I'm going to take a little bit of vacation, and I believe we won't have a meeting next week.
Correct.
So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. I do want to thank again for the resident who came in and talked about the Merle project. We will have a public session with them. It won't be input from the public, but it's the opportunity for us to, and we requested this meeting, for us to ask them a lot of the same questions that you're asking and questions that we've developed doing the same thing that you guys have done, just doing your research. So I do appreciate your efforts, and we are studying this issue very closely. And then lastly, obviously, the Exit 155 project, which has been it's been a really fun project so far. It's been very challenging, and sometimes the most challenging ones are the fun when you can see them getting over the hump, and I see them getting over the hump. But this has been an effort of a lot of different people. I know the commission is helping to drive this project, but this really is a community project. I apologize to all the representatives. We weren't really able to reach out and tell you anything until we knew that we were actually going to have something to approve today. But we really tried to push it to get it done. We are going to be out next week. The clock is ticking as far as us trying to access these federal funds. And I really, really do appreciate Ed Compton's work. Bill, your work in helping to give us advice over the past 2 years and really directing us, and the MMPO's work on this, and then all of your support. Again, I don't think there's anybody that's not in support of this project. It's just this is a real community effort, so this is a real feather in the community's cap and all the representatives that represent the community. So looking forward to the first step of a very long process.
Great. And along those same themes, I'd like to thank Sean and Renetta they've spent innumerable hours on this. Sean jumped right in to take lead on it on our behalf, and every time we'd have a meeting, he'd say, well, I've got another 155 call, I've got another 155 call, I've got 2 tomorrow. I mean, it's been a lot of hours and a lot of work, and we thank you certainly for your efforts in getting us over the finish line to this point. Yesterday, many of us attended the retirement celebration for Magistrate Sandy Holpit. Just like to offer congratulations to her and thank her for her many years of service on the bench. And then this morning, keeping in line with the DOH theme, I saw DOH employees cutting the medians off the Pier Pond exit. They were almost done. They were down in the last 2-foot section, so it looks wonderful. The weeds are gone, so we thank them for their diligence in getting that cut down. And probably be ready right in time for football season to be done again. So with that, I would gladly entertain a motion to adjourn.
I do have one additional agenda item that it's not on the agenda, but this came up yesterday. And when we moved to cancel our meeting last week, we did indicate that the president would be available to sign vouchers. But another thing that came up was about approving new hires. So I would like to put on the record that and make the motion for the president to be able to approve new hires brought to him by the deadline, which is Friday at noon prior to the next meeting. So for the president to be able to approve new hires, any budget revisions or vouchers that would occur in the absence of the full commission.
Second.
A first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we'll have to give direction to the clerk's office that any of those requests would come directly to the president.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
We are adjourned.
You be on.